everyone. I welcome you all to the course on Computer Fundamentals and C Programming. In this course, we will be learning about the fundamentals of computers as well as we will learn about a programming language. Most importantly, C programming language, which is widely used. Well, there are so many programming languages, but why C? The reason because is that if you learn C, then you are basically done and you can learn any other programming languages at ease. So this is the reason why C language is still taught in all the universities across the globe. I hope this will give you a broad idea of why we are teaching C, because you may argue that there are so many programming languages, right? But if you learn one programming language very nicely, it will help you to learn other programming languages very easily. So, prior to starting this course, I welcome you to the course Bachelor of Computer Application. And most importantly, we are going through tough time, but nevertheless, we will put our effort from both ends. We as a faculty members from GIS University will help you a lot in grasping each and every subject. But as a student, you also have to put your effort. So it's a two-way process basically. So we help you, you also help yourself, such that the output and the fruit becomes really good. Next, one of the important thing I would like to share with you, because I think when you in this course of BCA, you will be learning many subjects. And you will see that each of the subjects ultimately at some point of time, when you complete this course and then go for the next course or you go for a job, you need to apply the knowledge of each of these courses. Fine. So you must understand the concepts very nicely. It is not about just scoring marks in the exam, but more importantly, how do you grasp the subject? Okay, are you able to relate where you can use this concept in some real application, in many other fields? Okay, this is one of the important thing I would like to share. Another thing which is a little bit philosophical, but still I wanted to share with you guys, is that, look man, if you want to learn something better, you need to clean your mind and your body such that it is completely free from any other intervention. Okay. For that reason, I'll give you 5 important tips. And I hope that these 5 tips will be helpful to you. You know, the first tip is that try to live a conscious life. What do I mean by that? What I mean to say is that living a conscious life means that you should not allow your mind to control you. Rather, you should control your mind. Remember this. Your mind should not control you, but you should control your mind to get the best out of you. First thing. Next important point is you all should have a vision. We all, not you all, basically we all must have a vision. In, in this in this bachelor course, which you will be studying for next 3 years, you should have something in mind. Okay, at the end of 3 years or at the end of next 5 years or 6 years, I want to see myself here. Doesn't matter what you achieve, what you don't achieve, but your vision, if you have a vision in place, this will help you to reach your goal sometime or the other. May not be you will be able to achieve everything in that period of time, but you will be reaching that goal sooner or later. you know, trust me. The next point is this has helped me, and many of my friends, my relatives have got a lot of benefit from this is meditation. Try to do at least 5 to 10 minutes of meditation. I know it is very difficult to when you start, but slowly you will see that it just becomes a habit, you know. So this is something I would request you incorporate in your day-to-day life. And and believe me, after doing it for 10 days, you will not be able to leave that. You will feel that I'm missing something in life, and that is just start with 5 minutes if you can't do it for longer. But just start in your day-to-day life. It could be in the morning, it could be in the night, anytime you want it, but just do it. The next point is for anything you do, you know, cleaning a house starting from, or arranging your study rack where you study, try to have some kind of planning. A planning is very essential for anything. Anyone among us, even we as a faculty, any individual must need to do some kind of planning to become, you know, successful in achieving their goals. I feel. And the last point is something very useful in today's context, and I feel that that is important all the time. I mean, I have been doing it for years. Try to incorporate again exercise for 15 to 20 minutes minimum. You know, if you can do it for 30 minutes to 1 hour, that is beautiful and just awesome. But even if you cannot do, try to do start with minimum 15 minutes. If you do your studies along with these 5 points which I have mentioned, I think you will be able to enjoy the course as well as enjoy your life in a better way. Fine. So these are the mantras I wanted to give you before I start a class. Now let us come to computer fundamentals and C programming. So what is this course all about? As I said, this course I will be giving you, I will be talking about computer fundamentals first, and then I will be proceeding towards, you know, programming aspect, and where we have taken up the language. The code of this course is JBCA 101, and we will be having 3 lecture plus 1 lecture. Basically, it's 3 lecture and 1 tutorial. We also have a lab course, which I will be discussing separately because it's a 6 hour course. Weekly, we will be having 6 hours for that. And for the theory, we have 4 hours. Okay. This course is a 4 credit course, and these are the 2 books that I will be following mostly, but you know, it is not restricted to any book. I will be taking things from various sources, various other sources, which is available in internet, also which are available in other books. So I'll be sharing with you all the details in course of time. Now, this course is broadly divided into 9 and each unit is allotted with certain duration of time. I'll start with first unit. Uh, in this unit, I will be giving you the details of computer. What is a computer? I mean, you all know what is a computer. You may have been using it for years, but let me tell you very briefly what it is. It takes some input, it processes that input, and it generates the desired output. Why we needed computer on the first place? Somebody asked. It made our life much easier. I mean, this is again a debatable answer that whether it has made our life easier or it has made our life a little bit even difficult. I don't know, but yes, but that is cut it out, these things. So computer has made our life much easier. We must say that because we get a lot of help from it. But it is again dependent on how you use it. So for that reason, we will tell you the story of computer, how it has evolved. I'll give you very briefly where and how people thought of computer. You know, human evolution is from a very long period of time, and computer came in 19 in the 1900 century. So we must know how it has evolved and what made the revolution of computer and making of this computer so. Then I will discuss about the block diagram of a computer. Although I'm not discussing it here, I'll be discussing it in class. Broadly, if you see, we provide input to the computer through input devices. What are the input devices that we have? Keyboard is an input device. Your mouse is an input device. Inside the computer, you have processor. A processor, which is also called central processing unit, consists of two important modules. One is arithmetic and logic unit, another is control unit. So basically, these two units interact with each other, actually perform the task. And then we have a unit called memory, where we actually store the data and instruction both. And we perform operations based on it. Now, I'll tell you a very small example. Why do we need memory? You think of our day-to-day activities, what we do. We get up in the morning and we straight away go brush our teeth, okay? And then we take bath, then we take breakfast, and then we go for a job, we do our household work, and then we, in the lunchtime, we do our lunch, then we again work, and in the evening we come, we sit with our family, speak, and then watch TV together, maybe, then have dinner, and then go to bed. So you see, these are the set of instructions that are fed in our memory. And based on this, we are performing all these tasks. It is very similar to what computer is actually. All the tasks must be present in memory, and processor must bring each of these tasks one by one from memory, and it performs the task. So this is how computer basically works. It has got input, it has got output, it has got a processing unit, and it has got a memory. Instruction and data are stored in memory, and we bring each instruction and data one by one from memory to processor, executes it using ALU and CU, and then generates the output in the monitor or in the printer or anywhere. Okay, so this we will be discussing in detail about it in the course, but this is a broad overview that I'm discussing. In this unit, we will be also discussing about disk. You know, if you see the story of how we store data, we started with floppy disk. In the year I remember 2000, 2001 or so, we used floppy disk. Slowly, compact disk came, the CD. Then comes hard disk and pen drives. And now we can have these pen drives have become so small, like we actually have to keep it so safely and nicely. Yeah, might get lost somewhere or not. Because at times we have to carry such a big thing, and now we have to carry such a small thing. So this is where the advancement in technology has taken place from, and why it has taken place. I'll talk about all these things in the evolution, where I'll talk about a law called Moore's law. It is basically about the transistors that are put in an integrated chip, which is inside our processor, okay, which is actually chips are nothing but our processor is built using transistors. And these advancements have taken place just because of the enormous research activity and R&Ds and everything, research and development taking place over the years in the integrated circuit design technology. We'll also discuss briefly in this section about number system, where we'll talk about decimal number system, which you already know. We'll talk about binary. What is the importance of binary in the context of computers? We'll discuss on that because everything is binary in computer. It's digital, right? We'll also discuss about octal and hexadecimal, where it is used and how it is used, and so on and so on. So this is unit 1, and the first lecture I will be discussing mostly about the topics which I have just now introduced. Let us now move on to the next unit, which is algorithm and flowchart, then operating system and services, Windows operating environment. Very briefly on algorithm and flowchart. Now, we need uh, we need to perform a task. Let's say the task is adding two numbers. So for adding two numbers, what do you require? You need to have again a planning, you know. And in this planning, what we do, we can have two ways of representing. One way is through textual representation. Another way is through a flowchart, which is a pictorial representation. So algorithm is nothing but, we can say, a well-defined set of tasks written down, instruction written down to perform a task. And a flowchart is nothing but a graphical representation of the system. Okay, we will be discussing a lot of examples and everything in this course so that it becomes useful for your understanding. Next, we'll briefly again talk about operating system. So Windows is an operating system. Unix is an operating system. What is an operating system? Operating system is nothing but a software, a set of software. There are many software piled together and an operating system is built. And what it does? It is basically an interface between the user, we the user, and the hardware part of the computer. If you think of a monitor, if you think of a CPU, individually as a hardware, it will not be able to do anything. But when if you want to interact with it, you need a software which will help the hardware to interact with you. Okay, so this is what operating system is all about. We will briefly discuss about disk operating system, although it is an obsolete one, but we will very briefly discuss about this, and then we will tell you the one which is widely adopted in industry and everywhere, which is Unix operating system. Fine. We'll also discuss about files and directories here. Next, many of you might be using Windows operating environment, and many of you might be using the Unix operating environment, like the Ubuntu or any other, Fedora or any other operating system. So I will briefly talk about maybe Windows operating system very broadly, but I always recommend you to use Unix operating. It is much easier. Although for many tasks, Windows is also better, but Ubuntu or Unix operating system is much more robust in many. We can discuss about this. Okay. Now comes unit 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Rest 5 units we will be discussing about the language. Okay. What is a programming language? And why do we need it on the first place? Again, if we want to perform a task, we need the computer to understand it. In that process, we need a systematic set of instruction translated into some syntax, some symbols to be represented in a holistic way. So, a computer programming languages are very essential in building any application. Today, we cannot think of anything beyond the programming language. Anybody and everybody uses this for building applications. And those applications in turn are used by industries, used by small scale, businesses, uh, in every field. You see any field, you need a programming language. Either it's a MATLAB, or it's a R language, or it's a Python, or it's C or C++ or Java. I mean, anything, but in this programming language, there will be decision making. If else, if this is true, then we will do this. If that is true, we will do this. So we will come across a lot of decision making and branching. And then the concept like how we can actually have some data structures in place to store the data in an efficient manner and use it for our usage in solving any problem. So for that, we will introduce various data structures. One is array. There are other data structures which we will be specifically studying in a data structure course. But here in this course, we will be giving you a broad overview of how array can be used. And you will see that array in any other language is pretty similar. Next, this is a very important concept, and I would like to spend more time, and I would like to spend more time in doing practical on pointers. Because pointers is where you will understand how the data is stored in memory, how those data are actually accessed, what is a memory access, why do we need pointers on the first place, and what it is used for. And then we will see that how pointers could be used using array and function. I missed out function. Function is also something where instead of writing a huge set of code, we can write small code and we call it a function. Let's say we need add operations, which is a set of code. But we need not have to write those set of codes repeatedly in our code, but in your program, rather than you write that as a small snippet of code somewhere, and you can use that by calling that number of times. So this is called function. We will be using pointers with arrays, pointers with function, and many more. And the last where we are spending less time, but I always feel that we should spend more time on this. Nevertheless, we have a lot of time in practical, and I'm pretty sure we will be able to utilize our time in doing file management in our practical course. Okay? What are files? Now, everything, if you see, is something is file, although it is stored in memory, but it's file. Okay, it's stored in disk or anywhere. It's memory basically. How do you create your own file? How can you append a file, through a C program? We will be learning in this regarding that. So broadly, I gave you a broad overview of the course, computer fundamentals and C programming. And in the class, I will be discussing about the evolution of computer, which I discussed broadly in the first